Umbaclat Badman, it's your homie BreaksGPT here live and direct for Rinkside. We are joined with my Nova Scotian pal, Supreme.
Potty, how's it going, brother?
Dude, it's
How's it going down in Chicago?
chilling down in Chicago, baby. It's snow is melting because it's starting to heat up like the GOHLS League. Supreme, I understand there's been a big change in the minors so far this evening.
Yeah, brother. You right now, you're looking at the new general manager of the Halifax Mariners. Watch out, Miners. We're coming for you.
Damn, the Mariners coming onto the prowl, and what they just traded for none other than your boy Leo Solo, who is my second player coming down to Halifax. And I learned that news an hour ago, guys. But I'm down with the Mariners over there. Supreme, what do we got in store for us this evening?
Not too much potty, but we're gonna have a good episode. We're gonna talk a little bit on the resurrection of the show that we have done for so long. We got a little interview, special guest coming on. Stay tuned for that one. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the future of this show.
Excellent, brother. I am excited for what is in store. We're going to bring that to you after this commercial break. Hey yo, pink packs popping out the kitchen. Now listen, we got a $40 flash, and I know you'll be hitting, so grab a pack up in the shop. Next live gon' pop. GPT be the spot where you end up on top. Let's go. Yeah, and that's why you gotta follow Breaks GPT down on TikTok. In the link below. You know, Supreme, this has been a year dear to my heart. I'm gonna take my hat off. Gotta keep the keepa on. I do want to shout out 4 people that have departed from leadership positions much far. Chewy from a commissioner, Evan from a commissioner, Matt from the and Squibs from the DP. I actually did the show with Chewy for quite some time and had the pleasure of actually meeting him out in Canada. So, Chewy means a lot to me. Evan, I've had the opportunity to play a lot of golf with him. And even though he had the stubborn perseverance to stick with it, I always really enjoyed his commentary when I could hear him. Matt, I feel like we had some sort of connection, but I forget what it was. But I do remember him saying that I was illy, and I shout out to him because I respect that. And Squibs, I've met for a number of times out in Indiana with my homie Joey Rab. So shout out to like all 4 of these guys to contributing to the league. But Supreme, why don't you take us up to date with where the league leadership is today?
Well, Potty, we got a few new faces and new places. As you can see, we got MDM, also known as Beavis, as the new commissioner of the league. We also got Luigi Romano as the minors commissioner now, and he's going to bring us some new and exciting events to the minors, as well as some restructuring on how it all goes on. At the top of the board, you still got the main man, Tom Krieg, and a massive shout out to the man that keeps everything alive, Doug Britton. Shout out to Doug. He's been an amazing contributor to the league, especially these last couple seasons. And then you got your administrators in Jesse Pinkman of Miami Maccabees and Eric Davis Jr.'s over in the Vikings. Then we got your DDPs and Corbin Demers with the Stags and your main man, Jeff Potty BreaksGPT with Las Vegas currently, and his minors player Leo Solo in Vancouver. But that is going to be the new leadership to this ship, and really looking forward to what this beautiful group of guys can do for this league.
And now with our featured guest, Beavis! Let's go. Beavis, how's it going tonight?
Not bad. How are you, gentlemen?
Dude, we are absolutely crushing it on the Resurgent episode of Rinkside here with Supreme. And I've got 5 questions for you to start us off this evening. Fan favorites. Who are you in goals?
I guess you could start with my player MDM, Maximus Decimus. Um, Plays for Vancouver. He's pretty shit so far this season. Hopefully he'll get better eventually. But yeah, otherwise I'm the owner of Vancouver and just recently became the commissioner of the league, I guess.
That's awesome, man. It's glad to see you coming up on the rise. So how did you end up in the position that you have so fast?
I would say it's mostly Doug's doing. I was kept annoying him over and over, and then he just threw me into the DPP position, and then a whole bunch of people left, and then we restructured it, and here I am, I guess.
Let's go. Love Doug. Love a hand up into greatness, especially when you've earned Doug vertical fashion. Let me ask you this. What do you love about goals today?
I'm a big fan of like how casual it is. Like I as some people might know, I was a commissioned the VHL Victory Hockey League for a long time, and it's a PT league, so it requires a ton of effort to keep active every week. And or a couple of years ago now, I had my daughter, and I just recently had my son, and I just don't have time to keep up with the point tasks or anything like that anymore. So I was looking for a league that I could be more casual with. Now I guess I've taken on a bunch of homework that I probably didn't plan on in the beginning, but here we are.
That's awesome, man. Everybody loves a good family, man. If the viewers don't know, Breaks, GPT, Potty, and myself were both fathers. You know, we got Beavis, another father. Shout out to all the dads out there that work hard every day for their families. But anyway, what, in your opinion, what do you think needs to change in the league to not only help it survive, but to grow and become the best sim league, the best sim league in the world?
I don't know if like the best sim league in the world is ever possible because again, you can't ever, in my opinion, you can't ever attain perfection. But to make it thrive and be better, I'm going to kind of contradict myself in my last answer. Is I do think that we need some sort of like buy-in or like more activity from just like the general public. Like you guys doing your podcast, it's all like a passion project. It's not something that's rewarded or something that like a casual user that comes in and checks in the league every 2 weeks, updates, and then leaves and doesn't do anything else. Or my personal opinion is that's kind of negative or like a detriment to the future of the league, just because if we only have people checking in every 2 weeks, it's not really an active league. You're only getting someone typing 2 words every 2 weeks. You're not getting someone that's coming in every day, engaging with their locker room, engaging with the rest of the server, wanting to learn more, wanting to learn the history of the league, wanting to buy in and become a minors GM or a coach of a team, or just wanting to get in the front office in general. So it's harder to get a buy-in from like the mass audience to buy in and enjoy the league, which that's ultimately what we're all here for.
Can't agree more. And I'm wondering for those people that hear your message and want more out of their experience, and what are some resources for them to reach out to share their ideas and get support that they can grow along in their goals journey?
I'd say the informal discussion thread is a good one, or you can reach out to any of the league, like staff members, like yourself, Potty, myself, Doug, Krieg, anyone like that, any of the DPP. BC Prod is really good about that. Just anyone out there that's in the front office, just reach out to them and we'll make sure that it gets talked about or at least looked at thoroughly in the league front office chat.
That's a lot of useful information. There's a lot of new people in the league that might not have that information. So make sure if you need any help, go check those guys out. Message Beavis, message Potty. But I do have a question. I know there's some changes on the rise, and I've heard there might be some changes coming to the league. So what can players expect for upcoming changes for the future?
Upcoming changes, as you guys have probably seen recently, or the average user has seen, we recently implemented a waivers and cap retention system that is mostly there to help out the teams that are struggling with ghost or lever players that are just struggling to get warm bodies to fill their roster, and to give a little bit more freedom for those contending teams to acquire the players that historically they haven't been able to acquire just from the limited cap, and not being able to for those air quote lesser teams to be able to acquire because of their cap hits. So the cap retention system is there to alleviate those kind of roadblocks. And in the future, I would like to implement a different player progression system, but recently we had an owners vote about it and it didn't quite pass. But me and a couple other people are rewriting it and hopefully going to submit it to the office or the owner chat and hopefully get that amended and put through soon.
Excellent. One of the talked about was lesser team, right? And if you need to crack open another, you can do so at any point in time. But I'm just saying,
Will do.
For the lesser teams, let's talk about equity. The concept of giving people the same advantage, and whether they take upon that opportunity is up to themselves. But how do we take a team that has suboptimal performance season after season after season after season and give them the same shake at maybe not winning the cup right away, but getting into a position where they're beginning to compete?
I'd say one big thing that we can do is, and a lot of people are going to hate this when I say it, so be prepared for your podcast to get some a little bit of negative reviews, is lowering the cap. Right now, the cap is a little bit too high, in my opinion. And a team like Vancouver, if you go check out our roster, like almost every single player is 95 overall or higher, which if you look at other teams, they might even only have one or two players that might be that, period. Whereas the entire roster is 95 overall or higher. That, again, is because of me and my team's management of the cap and being able to work around it. But even with working that hard at the cap, we shouldn't be able to do that. But again, that's my own personal opinion. I'm sure a lot of people disagree with me and they think that there should be a natural rise and fall. But in the way that GOHLS is kind of designed, is those bottom end teams don't ever have a chance of leaving, just because those players that they do acquire end up leaving or getting bored of just losing constantly before they even have a chance of coming up with the team or growing until they're actually a top tier team.
Whether people agree or disagree with you, I wouldn't worry too much about that. A lot of people have a lot of faith in guys like yourself and Doug and even Potty here to put together a very good league and to keep what we have going.
All right, Beavis, and I got one last question for you here. If you wanted to shout out one of the leaders of the league that is no longer here with us, who would it be?
I'd say Evan, probably, or otherwise known as Oni. He was the one kind of keeping all the sheets together, He was the one that was doing a bulk of the streaming as well as the background work. And again, those guys that work with the sheets and doing all the transactions and stuff, they're never really noticed, or never get the limelight or anything like that. Guys like Doug's still with the league, of course, and still with the commission team, but Doug, no one really knows how much Doug is doing in the background. I swear the guy's working 40-hour weeks and then he puts in another 20 or 30 hours just in goals. So manually entering all the progressions, manually doing all the player sheet progressions, doing transactions, doing moves, and every time there's a trade, the entire lines for that team are reset. And it takes roughly 20, 30 minutes to completely redo them every time that transaction happens. So huge shout out to Doug. If Doug wasn't around, the league wouldn't be around. So big props to Doug.
Yeah, no, Doug's a very good guy. We've already touched up on how much we appreciate Doug earlier in the episode, and we can't thank him enough. But honestly, Beavis, we can't thank you enough for taking the reins of this league and hopefully, you know, making it better and thrive. But with that being said, Beavis, is there anybody you'd like to shout out or anything before we wrap this up?
I'd like to shout out you two for bringing back Rinkside and also fixing the lines and strategies for Vancouver. We've recently gone on I think close to 20 game, or I can't say 20 game win streak because we did lose versus Toronto. But other than that, close to 20 game win streak. So thank you, gentlemen, for Rinkside as well as fixing my lines and strats.
Dude, our absolute pleasure. You know, Rinkside here with Supreme is a 50-50, and as we've approached leading teams to success in the past, has always been a 50-50 endeavor. So definitely wouldn't be one without the other, and I'm super grateful to have Supreme here with me leading Rinkside. Supreme, and I appreciate your consideration for our premier guest this season. Beavis, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Shout out to you. Shout out to all the homies, and we appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks
Let's
for coming.
Rinkside. Let's go Rinkside.
Let's go, boys.
Hats off to my boy Beavis over there. Wu-Tang salute from your boy BreaksGPT. I got Supreme in the building. I thought that was a phenomenal interview with my homie Beavis. And I'm really looking forward to what's on your mind.
That was an awesome interview, Potty. Beavis is a great man, and I'm super excited to see what he's going to bring to this league. But let's move it forward to the future of the show. With what we want to do with the show moving forward is we're going to do a few episodes from now until the end of the season just to kind of get our toes back in the water a little bit. You know, get you guys, the viewers, engaged with us again, and then maybe pump out some special stuff at the end of every episode. But starting next season, we're going to have weekly uploads again. Once a week, you're going to see Potty and myself, and we're going to talk about stats and standings for both minors and the pros. And also, if you guys want to see some highlights of the games, make sure you submit the clips and I will put them in, and we will pick one winner every single week to have the highlight of the week. And you'll get a shout out from us and bragging rights for all the goals. So make sure you submit your clips so that you can show goals, your skills on the ice.
Damn, what an incredible episode. I can't believe that we brought that to you live from Chicago to Nova Scotia to all the way wherever Beavis was from. I do appreciate you all coming on to this show this evening. We're going to be back with an action-packed episode in a mere moment's time. So hit that follow button, hit that like button, and tell us what you want next in the comments. This was BreaksGPT. That was my homie Supreme, and this is Rinkside!